My situation over the 12 years that I've been here entertaining you on television. Welcome to Hot Topics, Sharina Hudson. Getting out of my car with my money. Good morning, Journey. She'll be almost, I think she'll be 3 next month, don't you know? Good morning, Kelvin. It's my truth.
So Sharina Hudson finally found out she barked up the wrong tree all along when she got with Kevin Hunter. For months, nobody really knew where she'd gone. While Kevin was out there filing lawsuit after lawsuit trying to get Wendy Williams to fund his lifestyle again, Shireena deactivated her Instagram and went completely off the grid. Now we're finally getting the full picture of where she's been hiding, and honestly, it's not pretty. It's not even a secret at this point that Kevin and Shireena were fully prepared to live off Wendy's money indefinitely without ever thinking twice about the morality of it. For years, that arrangement worked out beautifully for both of them. She got the lifestyle, he got the affair he wanted on the side, and Wendy footed the bill for all of it without fully realizing the scale of what was happening behind her back. But once Wendy's career took a hit, the entire foundation of that arrangement started to crumble. And it's dragged both of them down with it in ways neither of them saw coming. Let's start with how Kevin's money actually dried up in the first place. When Wendy left the Wendy Williams show, she lost a huge chunk of income. And because of a clause in their divorce decree, if her contract was ever suspended or not renewed, she wasn't on the hook to keep paying him alimony. Whoever wrote that clause into the agreement deserves a raise, honestly, because Kevin had apparently planned to live off Wendy indefinitely without ever building anything of his own to fall back on. He'd reportedly received a lump sum in the divorce plus alimony checks of around $250,000 a month for years. But once the show ended and those checks stopped coming, he was immediately back in court trying to find any way to keep the money flowing his direction. His first attempt came in 2022 when he sued to get the payments reinstated, claiming he'd fallen behind on bills, was facing possible foreclosure over unpaid homeowners association fees, couldn't even keep up with insurance on his luxury cars, and was behind on multiple credit cards. Read that again. The man who used to live the high life off someone else's paycheck couldn't keep his own bills current the second that paycheck disappeared. That lawsuit got thrown out by the court entirely. So in 2024, he tried a completely different angle, claiming Wendy had actually hidden over $48 million from him during their original divorce proceedings, and asking the court to set the entire divorce aside so they could renegotiate everything from scratch. Imagine being willing to reopen an entire nasty divorce process, drag both parties back through years of legal battles purely on the chance it might squeeze out more money. That didn't work either, and the court wasn't having any of it. Then, earlier this year, he filed yet another lawsuit, this time demanding $250 million in damages from Wells Fargo, Wendy's guardian, and several other people involved in managing her guardianship, claiming he was doing all of this on her behalf because her constitutional rights had allegedly been violated. 3 separate lawsuits, 3 completely different legal strategies, but one consistent underlying goal every single time: find some way back into Wendy's money by whatever means necessary. But here's the thing though, even people who have no love for Kevin have pointed out the obvious problem with his framing. He's not her husband anymore. He has no power of attorney over her affairs. Their son is a full adult now, so Kevin can't even claim he's filing on his behalf as a concerned parent. This wasn't genuine concern for Wendy's well-being dressed up as legal action. It was a money grab, and honestly, not even a particularly clever one when you look at how quickly courts kept shutting each attempt down. If anything, how creative and increasingly desperate these filings got just shows how bad his financial situation had actually become behind closed doors. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Because in the process of trying to expose the guardianship purely for his own financial benefit, Kevin's lawsuit ended up accidentally dragging real, legitimate information into the public eye. A new medical assessment reportedly confirmed that Wendy never actually had dementia, which had originally been used as the basis for placing her under a strict guardianship for more than 3 years. That means everyone involved in that decision, the judge who approved it, her former manager, her doctor, Wells Fargo, and her court-appointed guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, were apparently all in lockstep keeping Wendy locked out of her own money and decision-making based on a diagnosis that turns out not to have even been accurate in the first place. With that information now public, Wendy may finally have real, solid legal grounds to end this guardianship for good, even if it doesn't necessarily mean she's rushing straight back to a primetime television spot anytime soon. Now, back to Shireena, because Wendy no longer working didn't just affect Wendy, it rippled outward and affected everyone financially tied to her, even people she never chose to be connected to, including the mistress she never asked to have a stake in her career. As the money problems crept in, tension between Kevin and Shireena started building fast, mainly because the entire reason she'd stayed with him in the first place, for years, was the soft life he'd promised and consistently delivered on. That was the whole arrangement. Once that soft life started visibly disappearing, Shireena had to actually get up and hustle for real, probably for the first time in a long while. Her vegan food business wasn't bringing in any real, sustainable money, so she went and got her real estate license, selling homes in Florida on the side to try to keep some income coming in. Reports also say Kevin hasn't paid a cent of child support and doesn't plan to until his own finances recover, which, given the pattern we've just walked through, could genuinely be a very long time. As things got progressively more heated between them, Shireena made her Instagram private and reportedly moved back in with her mother to try to get her finances together away from the spotlight. That's the disappearance nobody could quite explain at the time, and it lines up perfectly with everything else falling apart around Kevin financially and legally. She's since resurfaced, but with a completely different energy than before, heavily promoting her real estate services and selling wellness and gut health products, instead of flexing the soft life aesthetic she used to be known for online. She went from designer bags, vacations, and being photographed courtside to actively trying to keep herself and her young daughter afloat on her own merit. And according to sources close to the situation, she and Kevin have since gone their separate ways entirely, though that split hasn't been officially confirmed by either of them directly. And it's worth sitting with just how fast this all unraveled once the money stopped. For over a decade, this arrangement ran like clockwork. Kevin kept two households funded off one woman's income, and both Wendy and Shireena, in completely different ways, ended up paying for a lifestyle that was never actually built to last on its own. Wendy paid with her career, her privacy, and eventually her freedom under guardianship. Shireena paid with years spent hiding in plain sight, building nothing of her own because she didn't need to as long as Kevin kept delivering. The second that delivery stopped, both of their positions became painfully clear. Wendy at least had a body of work and a name recognizable enough to potentially rebuild from. Shireena, by contrast, had built her entire identity around being taken care of, and now she's having to construct something from scratch in full public view, with everyone watching and very few people rooting for her. Watching this relationship crash and burn has a lot of people saying the same thing: karma. Because there's no version of this story where Shireena genuinely believed she'd get to live large off another woman's hard-earned money forever without any consequences eventually catching up to her. She wasn't some innocent bystander blindsided by fate here. She made a conscious choice to stay in that arrangement for over a decade, fully aware of what it was and who it was hurting. And now the bill has finally come due, same as it has for Kevin. Neither of them built anything sustainable of their own during all those years of living comfortably off someone else's paycheck, and that lack of a foundation is exactly what's catching up to both of them now that the checks have stopped for good. So now, the question is simple. Were y'all expecting Shireena and Kevin to actually break up this soon? Or did you think the soft life delusion still had a little more runway left in it before reality caught up? Either way, this is turning into one of those stories where nobody involved really comes out looking good, and that's exactly why people can't stop talking about it. Share your thoughts in the comments and make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.